Okay, welcome back to another day of Sichos HaRan. As we usually do, I'm just going to begin by taking a breath, settling into the learning, transitioning from whatever busy part of the day we are currently in. We are in Sicha Yud Aleph, paragraph Gimel, very fundamental, very, very important, and probably also relatively quick. V'amar, and Rabbi Nachman said, Zeh ani mamin. This is something that I believe. Right? He just finished talking to us about Emunah, talking to us about the kafitza that he had to engage in, the jumping through all of the obstacles, jumping over all of the obstacles and all of the challenges and all the difficulties in order to reach the place of Emunah, to reach Eretz Yisrael. And now he tells us, well, I reached Eretz Yisrael, and this is what I believe. This is what I trust in. The Gama Yodea. I don't only trust in it, but I also know it experientially, which is very, very powerful, especially given what he's about to say. But Rabbi Nachman knows that this is true because he's been there and he's been through it. The Gama Yodea Harbe B'Inyan. I know a lot about this. Shekol HaTenuos v'Chol HaMachshavos v'Chol Mini HaAvodos she'osim b'shvil Eze Avodah she'b'Kedusha. All of the movements and all of the efforts and all of the thoughts and all of the calculations and all of the practices that we engage in order to accomplish, in order for the sake of any particular practice, uvda, shebe kedusha, any practice, any action, any accomplishment in kedusha. Ein shum tenua ve'ein shum machshava navedas klal. There is no movement, there is no effort, there is no thought, there is no calculation, there is no intention that's lost in any way, shape, or form. None of it is for naught. And when a person is lucky enough, because success is always a function of luck, our success is not up to us. Our success, after we put in our hishtadlus, is purely a function of whether HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides to produce results with our success or not produce results with our efforts. Which in and of itself is a very, very important and fundamental point to appreciate that we are not pulling the levers of power, and there's no giant gumball machine. If we put in a quarter and press a button, we automatically get a gumball. There is nothing that we can be in control of because, in fact, and indeed, although oftentimes it seems not like this, the world does not work through cause and effect, although we're familiar with cause and effect and it's what we're used to. That is not how things are actually working. We try and we do things that should produce certain outcomes, and they don't produce outcomes. And then we don't try and we don't do things that produce certain outcomes, and suddenly we get those outcomes. So when we are zocha to be meshaber kol hamaniyos, when we succeed in breaking through all of the difficulties and challenges that are standing in the way of some particular uvda de kedusha, some particular holy practice, spiritual accomplishment, or non-spiritual accomplishment, a holy material practice as well. Really, what's happening is we're being zocha to it. It's just luck. And we should appreciate that it's not coming from us, it's coming from above. And we haven't done anything to deserve it. And as we receive it, it's not debiting our bank account of zechusim and what we deserve. It's a freebie. A freebie should humble us, and a freebie should also encourage us, because every time we receive the freebie, it doesn't cost us anything. When we succeed, when we are lucky enough to break through these minios, and we actually accomplish, we achieve, we complete the thing that we're trying to achieve. Then through our eventual achievement and our eventual accomplishment, all of the efforts and all of the movements and all of the ideas and all of the confusion and all of the difficulty and all of the uncertainty and all of the frustration, it all transforms. It creates kodem sheshavar va'avar al kol hamaniyos, before we broke through and passed over all the maniyos. Again, like we said before, ultimately we pass through them, we pass over them. We don't really surmount them and fix them and correct them. We're kafats al kulam. We jump over them because Emunah is what gets us through. Leaps of faith. When that happens, during all the difficulties and challenges and uncertainties that we experienced while we were unsure and confused about whether we would achieve or not achieve, and we were standing in the balance and waiting for it to tip one way or the other, and we don't know how it's going to go. And the difficulties and the challenges were pushing on us and distracting us and pulling us away and preventing us from achieving from every side. Eventually, when we pass over all of these things, and we break through them all. Azai then naasim mikol hamanios and mikol hamachshavos v'atamuos v'albabulim hanisrael. All of these things, all of the challenges, and all of the things that went wrong, and all of the uncertainties, devarim elyonim lamala b'kedusha. They're transformed into very, very lofty, holy, and special spiritual things. All of the difficulty itself. It's not just about the achievement. The achievement of the thing that we're trying to achieve is very, very nice. Although it's not so nice for us, really, because it's just a freebie, and we have to keep that in mind. We're zocha to it. At the very same time, all of the effort that we put in, which is not what produced the outcome is a freebie, but all the effort that we put into it, that is what is transformed into devarim elyonim lamala b'kedusha. And all of these things, all of these efforts, and all of these attempts, and that worked well, and that didn't work well, and it succeeded and didn't succeed, and we turned this way and it didn't work, so we tried another thing and that one didn't work, and a different solution, and eventually we hit on whatever it is, and eventually we break through because we have persisted. All of these things make an impression above. All of these original initial movements and efforts make powerful impressions above. So how lucky we are if we are lucky enough to jump, to jump over and leap over all of these challenges and all of these manios. It's one thing to bang our head against the wall. It's one thing to try and face challenges and fix the challenges and correct the challenges and overcome the obstacles, because we have the ability to overcome the obstacles and we have the intelligence to figure out how to overcome the obstacles. That's one thing. But how wonderful it is if we're able to just jump over them, because how do we jump over them? We jump over them by saying, that I'm doing something good and I'm doing what I need to be doing. I'm doing what my avoda is, and not what anyone else's avoda is. And because I'm doing what my avoda is, inevitably it must succeed, because the end result is that I will succeed. The Bala Sula makes this fascinating point, which we talked about in the erstwhile Bala Sulam share, that if the Ratzon Hashem is for everything to come to its tachlis, then everything is coming to its tachlis, and there's no way to avoid it. And of course, it's going to happen. The only question is, am I aligning my avoda with my actual tachlis? Do I understand what it is that I really need to be doing? Is the uvda de kedusha that I'm actually trying to accomplish my accomplishment, my avoda? If it is, then I can go full speed ahead, and I don't have to fix all the difficulties and solve all the problems and overcome all the challenges. I can just go and do it, because eventually, somehow, some way, shape, or form, it will happen, because it has to happen, because it's already been willed in the Ratzon Hashem to happen, because that's the tachlis of everything for me and each of us to come to our tachlis. So if I'm on the right track for me, then we're going to get there. And if we're going to get there, then all of the efforts I put in, all the efforts I put in are not really there to achieve the thing that I'm trying to achieve. The thing that I'm trying to achieve has already been achieved, and it's already here, and it already will be there. And I could sit back and relax, and it would still somehow be achieved. So all of the efforts that I'm putting in are really avodah lishma. They're really doing things for the sake not of accomplishment and not of actualization, but because they're the thing I'm supposed to do. That's the avodah that's in front of me, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. And that allows me to be focused on all of the difficulties. I don't have to solve the problems. I just go full speed ahead. And the problems solve themselves, or they don't, and they fall away, and they haven't solved themselves. And nevertheless, somehow I've achieved what I needed to achieve anyway. And how lucky we are if we are able, Ashrenu, how lucky we are if we're able to appreciate this and achieve it and experience it, Velasas, Eza Uvda Tova, and able to do something. Eza Uvda Tova, nothing big, Nothing massive, nothing impressive. Eza Ubda Tova, just a something, something good. There are many things that prevent us from even doing something small, something insignificant good. And if we're trying to achieve something small, then it's much more likely that we'll be able to achieve the small thing and just jump over the things that are preventing us. Someone comes to my door and asks for tzedakah, and I pull out my credit card and give them something, maybe more than I would. And I don't have to calculate exactly how I'm going to pay for it and where it's going to come from and et cetera, et cetera. Just take out my card and give it. And we jump over the minias. We jump over the challenges. I don't have to solve all the problems and calculate all of the calculations. There are times for that. But Eza Uvda Tova, to accomplish something very little, something small that's right in front of my face. All I have to do is go ahead and do it. And if I go ahead full speed and do it, I'm able to be kofitz on it, and then all of the effort that I do put in, all of that turns into something very, very special up above. Okay. Bezos Hashem will continue tomorrow with Sichos Yud Beis. Have a wonderful day.